Good morning, friends and neighbors. This is Elliott Oliva Home Group here in Falls Church, and want to welcome you to the first installment of RealTalk with Elliott. So this is going to be a series of shorts, videos, whatever you want to call them, where I'll be sharing stories and advice about real estate, mortgage stuff, restaurants, probably a lot about tacos, a little bit of everything. But anyhow, the very first piece of advice I want to share is really, really important, one that's very dear to my heart, because it's about veterans buying houses. And the reason veterans are important to me, well, first of all, my dad served in the Air Force 23 years, he's retired, and I highly respect everyone that's served in the military, active duty, retired, everybody. And I want to share the biggest mistake veterans make when they're buying a house, and that comes down to financing. So naturally, when you're in the military, you go with a bank for banking, credit cards, insurance, life insurance, all that, and the main company is what I call a four-letter bank. I don't want to name any names. And over the years, the veterans, active duty, retired, they have all their services with them. So when it's time for them to buy a house, they just assume they're good at mortgages too. So that's the other mistake that they make. They make the assumption and just think all banks are created equal. Nothing could be further from the truth. The problem with this main four-letter bank, and also some of the other credit unions that cater towards the military, is they don't do a whole lot of upfront work on getting veterans pre-approved. At best, maybe they'll do what's called a pre-qual, which is just based on verbal information. So the main four-letter bank, their policy, which is nuts, is, hey, we'll collect all of your income and asset documents once you bring us a ratified contract. Oh, bring you a ratified contract on a house that I don't know if I qualify for. That makes total sense. No, it doesn't. So anyway, that's really crazy. So the other issues, let's say you are pre-approved, or you're out there trying to buy a house with that kind of financing, right? With that kind of bank, the four-letter bank. You submit an offer with your agent. First of all, if you have a good agent, they're not going to let you run around and do this, but sometimes it happens. And this is what happened. I'll give you a perfect example. I had a listing in Alexandria a while back, and it was kind of a hot market, and I had I had two offers. One was, they're both owner occupants, and one of them was, using VA financing, which is fine. I think VA loans are great. But they were using the four-letter bank. And the other offer was using a local regional mortgage bank that we have experience with, that I know very well. I didn't know the loan officer, but I knew the bank. But anyhow, the other offer that was presented by the buyer agent, came with a pre-approval letter from the four-letter bank with no contact information, no loan officer information, nothing. And which is, I was expecting that. I knew that's how it was going to be. And I called the buyer agent. Thank you for sending the offer. I'm sending it over to my client. Big issue right off the bat is, there's no contact information for the loan officer. And the guy's like, oh, no, they're good to go, they have good credit, yada, yada, all this stuff. I was like, well, how do I know that? There's no loan officer to have a conversation about this. Because when I'm presented with an offer, I have to call the loan officer and ask them a bunch of questions about their financing. And I was a loan officer for 16 years before I became an agent 12 years ago. So I know exactly how mortgages work. I know what a real solid comprehensive pre-approval is supposed to look like. So I asked the guy, well, how do you know that they're good to go? Like, well, they have good credit and all that. It's like, well, Mr. Buyer Agent, did you pull their credit report? He's like, no. I was like, well, how do you know they're good to go? And these guys were moving from, the buyer was moving from California. I was like, so they're moving from California. Do they have a house out there that they own? He's like, yeah. I was like, are they selling it? He's like, I think so. I was like, well, there's probably another mortgage attached to that. Are they going to rent it out? Has anyone qualified them with that mortgage or potential rental income on that house, future rental income? He's like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, well, this is what I'm telling you. I can't tell my client to go with your offer because as it stands, they're not pre-approved. No one knows anything. Again, because this 4-letter bank does not collect anything. And here's the rub. Their offer was higher than the other offer. So I went to the other guy and said, look, your offer, your financing looked good. I talked to your loan officer. Everything's great. Just a little low on the price. If you can go back to your client and come up on the price, I think the owner will go with it. And that's what happens when you have bad financing, or no financing, really. Why? Because the veteran unfortunately made an assumption, and it's not their fault. Why? Because, you don't do this every day. So how do you avoid this problem? Number one, work with a local realtor that does this stuff full time. Preferably a couple of years under their belt, and they know things. That's our job. We know things. They know who the good local lenders are. They know how to put an offer together, know how to present it. And they're not going to let the buyer client just lead them. Because this is what happens with some agents, especially newer ones, especially when they're dealing with veterans. The veteran's like, oh, I'm using this 4-letter bank I've used it my whole life, and that's that. And they'll just go along with it, and then we'll just go around wasting time, writing offers that aren't going to, make it to the finish line. So a good agent is going to, connect you with all the right resources. And number one thing is a lender. They work with good lenders because why? Well, we want to get to the closing table just, for you, right? So follow their advice because they do this every day for a living. You don't. Just trust them. If you don't trust them, then maybe you shouldn't be buying a house. I don't know. But yeah, listen to your realtor, go through the process, get pre-approved, get all your paper, income, asset documents, your COE, DD 215, all of that, get all that submitted before you even go out the door and look at houses. And that way, when you're ready to write an offer, it's all done. And the buyer agent can present an offer on your behalf with confidence. And when you have really good financing, you have a very well put together offer, that listing agent is going to advocate for you. They're going to be in your corner. So remember that. And if you need a referral to a good lender that can do, VA loans or whatever, you can always reach out to us, put something in the comments. And here's the thing, you don't have to go with a lender that works with the military. There are a lot of good lenders, local lenders, mortgage banks that can do VA financings. Nothing super exclusive about that. I like local, regional mortgage banks because I know the loan officers, I know their processors, I know their underwriters. They're quick, they're responsive, they answer the phone after 5 o'clock, they answer the phone on the weekends. And when you're in a hot market, multiple offers, your loan officer has to be there on point to speak to the listing agent to tell them how awesome your financing is, answer questions about turn times, all those things, right? So if you're not working with a lender like that, reach out to me, reach out to your full-time local reputable realtor to connect you with somebody. Do not make assumptions about lenders. Well, one more thing that people do that kind of is a big mistake with financing is they'll just go do a Google search and just look for rates and look for the lowest rate. That's another big mistake. Don't do that. Don't look for the cheapest. Again, not all lenders are created equal. So again, just reach out to your preferred real estate agent and they'll get you connected. So thanks for letting me blab. I gotta go drop the dog. Sadie, hey, say bye to the people. Come here. Say bye. I gotta take her to daycare. Look, she wants me better. I gotta take her to daycare. But yeah, reach out if you have any questions about who to use for financing, any other questions about VA loans, putting offers together, how to win with VA financing over conventional deals, all that. Happy to help. See you on the next Real Talk with Elliott. Adios.